Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to LCK Summer 2019. It is the final day of Week 3. I'm Atlas, this is LS, and we're going to do our best not to speak almost solely about teamfight tactics. Try and leave it a little bit about the LCK, but I know everyone's been very excited about this particular game, so it might be hard to transition our mindset from what the champions do in that game to what they're going to be doing in these games.
Yeah, you know, sometimes we go into the drafts and I just don't quite recognize what some of the teams are doing.
Yeah.
In terms of balancing them out. Yeah. It's just really weird. Can't even tell what rank some of the champions are.
I'm surprised that there's so many extra champions unlocked in this this particular version.
Someone needs to tell Khan that he's actually not going to get first pick in the carousel.
Yeah. No, he was waiting for third carousel, but unfortunately we didn't make it to third carousel. That's the problem. That's the problem. Sometimes you're just going too deep in trying to get that spatula, you know?
Yep.
That's the problem. Okay, so that's enough about that. We do have a game of a game of League of Legends here on the cards, and it's going to be Afreeca Freecs taking on Gen.G. In our first match, Gen.G coming off a victory, but still not being able to make their way up the standings, currently in Hanwha position after their victory over that exact team. One win in a row, but Afreeca Freecs coming off a loss against Sandbox Gaming, who actually tore them apart in the last couple of games. It was a reverse sweep scenario for those guys. Dread brought out his Kiin, but it didn't quite work.
Yeah, and Sandbox is no slouch. I mean, they're second in the standings right now. They are looking like one of the best teams in the league. And honestly, everyone on the left side, or the west side, the way that the LCK likes to refer to it, we're all actually looking quite strong and almost like they're in a different league from every team on the east side. The way that the current standings are actually
it's starting to work out a little bit similarly to what it was in spring season.
Yeah.
You know? We've got a clearly defined top versus bottom, as Afreeca Freecs are certainly up there, but Gen.G are sort of sneaking their way in. And I think off the back of Ruler and Life on the bottom side of the map, Better Bot Wins has been tail of the tape for 9-12 throughout. So we'll see how we go. Points of the match here, spring bottom teams. We're different in summer. Afreeca of mechanics versus Gen.G of fast tempo. Not sure whether Gen.G and fast tempo have ever been in the same sentence before, but it's good to see them playing a little bit faster and looser in their last couple of matches, especially against Hanwha. They were able to smash them with a scaling comp in 27 minutes. So you guys figure that out. I'm not entirely sure how that even worked.
Well, winner hits 4th place today. Evolve top side Afreeca versus bot side, even stronger Gen.G. And then the last one, which is Mr. Tolerant Scale overcome. Cubate's 4-0 Gangplank. Will it be banned?
I don't know whether you'd ever ban a Gangplank. Hasn't really been top tier, you know? No one really goes Pirates these days anyway. It's just they're a bit the investment really style's just not so good.
Squeeze it in there.
All right, well, statistically, Gen.G also struggling here just a little bit, not getting a whole lot of Shellies and not taking a whole lot of First Bloods, but their win rate, if they get First Turret, is really high, but that's because they've only got First Turret in 2 games.
Okay. We're going to have to be on the lookout for that inside of the game. We can't really go against the stats.
I'm not sure how many games Afreeca Freecs haven't got First Turret. 8 games is a hell of a lot at this particular part of the season. So, yeah, they're taking the First Turret most of the time, and that's because Afreeca Freecs, like Kingzone, like Griffin these days, and like Sandbox, have been playing really high-tempo League of Legends. And that's what we've been wanting. That's what we've been asking for a lot of these players. We'll have to see whether any changes have been made to rosters, but I think that Afreeca Freecs and Gen.G have been pretty established. You know? The only question mark is Peanut for Songwon, but I have a feeling that Peanut will be making his way back in because he's the one that could potentially bring out the Zac. That's what I want. I want to see Peanut Zac like it was level 3 ganking earlier on. But let's have a look at some of these highlights for the Afreeca Freecs. There was some good moments in their Sandbox series, despite it ultimately being a loss.
Well, that's a really interesting Lee Sin interaction.
Yeah.
Made Jarvan almost look like Zac or Bard as he was doing a pass through the Baron pit, looking for a smite, but not quite.
Very strange stuff. As, yeah, this is just some hero support moments coming in from Senan. Young Guns in both of these teams, actually. I think Life versus Senan is going to be a really exciting matchup because Life has been playing out of his mind. Speaking of which, we're looking at a Summit highlight clip. when it's supposed to be about the Afreeca Freecs, but we will be seeing Sandbox later today. They'll be taking on KT Rolster in our final match of Week 3. Excited to see whether KT can bounce back, but also just looking forward to seeing whether the standings can be equalized between Griffin and Sandbox. Feels like spring has come upon us one more time as this fadeaway jump shot was so good out of Ruler.
Yeah, and they end up getting a kill right there, and now we're taking another look of another interaction, and they have just been going really aggressive, and bottom lane's just not really respecting the all-ins and the timings that have been getting capitalized on. Here, CuVee doing some gangplanking.
Yeah, some gangplanking. Do you think this is just a CuVee thing, the CuVee gangplank, just the fact that he's so able to absorb pressure and do his job in the late game? Do you think that's it, or do you think the gangplank is actually a good champion? I
think gangplank is really good right now, but in regards to CuVee and gangplank in tonight's match, I don't know if you picked that against Kiin. I'm not quite sure.
It is certainly a tough one, which is why we haven't highlighted that matchup, because it could be a little bit sad statistically. This one, though, the one I was just talking about, is a really exciting one. First blood participation, highest in the league for Life, and that's mostly because him and Ruler kill people 2v2 most games. That's just what happens.
And the stats for Senan right now, I think, actually aren't really representing how well he's been doing.
He's been a hero, not necessarily in the laning phase, but afterwards, right? This guy saves his teammates on the Nautilus so many times, catching people out of the air with his hooks. We've seen some really great play out of this guy, and he's super young. Like, this is someone that hasn't really been in the forefront of many people's minds, so really exciting to see some young talent stepping up. And as you can see, as both of our teams are ready to set foot into Lowell Park for their match, not too many changes when it comes to the rosters. Kiin, Dread, Ucal, Aiming, and Senan are your standard roster for the Afreeca Freecs. This was the team that fielded about 15 different players in different positions in spring, and now finally they found themselves some normalcy. Ucal in the mid lane has been stepping up, and it's part of the reason why this Afreeca Freecs is not the same one that we've been seeing elsewhere. Ucal having a bit of a jog trying to keep up with everyone.
And Ucal's return is one of the hallmarks, actually, for the team, like you were just mentioning. He, for the most part, disappeared from spring, and he was one of the best, arguably the best, mid laner in LCK.
In 2018,
when he disappeared. And so a lot of people wondered where he had gone to, and honestly, mid in Korea was looking pretty lackluster outside of CuVee and FLICKR in spring 2019. So with his return, it has definitely added quite some strength, and also Kuzan returning.
Yeah, Kuzan returning after dominating in Challenger over the last season. So Gen.G recognizing that, picking him up. And now to face off against Ucal is going to be a really interesting test here for Gen.G. I think there are just absolutely clear and stark advantages for both of these teams, right? You look at Afreeca Freecs, it's always Kiin. And Kiin versus CuVee is a matchup that Kiin's been able to bully throughout his entire career, right? That has been, like, CuVee's been his punching bag, win or lose. For Kiin on the side of the Afreeca Freecs, however, Ruler and Life are smashing the bottom lane, and Aiming and Senan aren't necessarily a top caliber laning duo. They are very good at getting the team into a decent position, but they're often a utility bottom lane, and they play through the top side, they play through their solo lanes. And we'll see whether Ruler and Life can take over the game, much like they did with their really interesting scaling composition with the Azir and the Gangplank scaling into late game, utilizing Ruler on his Kalista, dominating in the early game.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that this game, like you're mentioning, is really going to be influenced by top side versus bottom side, and who ends up getting all of the edges. And unfortunately for Gen.G, I would probably say that Kiin, I was mentioning this on yesterday's cast briefly about him, he and Rookie, when Rookie is really in shape, really feel like the only two players in the world that you still can't really go up to them in laning phase. They can win both sides of a counter matchup almost with ease, and so CuVee's going to have his work cut out for him today. Dread has been on fire.
He has top of our MVP rankings, sole possession of that first place with 500 points, looking to augment that with some more. And we were talking about the Gangplank, and it is going to be banned. So CuVee not going to have that fallback option here in the draft. And the Sejuani is going to be the first ban here, an understandable one against Dread. But Dread, of course, has a very, very deep champion pool when it comes to the aggressive junglers. I think Olaf needs a look in as well as Afreeca. Just looking at what worked for Gen.G, and in their 2-1 victory over Hanwha, it was based on the Kalista comps they picked back-to-back.
And now Talia being banned away. Ucal is definitely capable of piloting that to great success. Karma actually going to be banned away on blue side.
I like it. Ban the Karma away from Gen.G. Don't pick it into it. Don't do anything like that. We saw Noguri pick up the Karma in our first match on 9-12, and it just didn't work, right? Because Noguri is like the players that you were talking about. Kiin, like Rookie.
Yeah, he's an aggressive
he makes
carry.
the game about him, and the laning phase is always something that he can dominate on. Gen.G could go Sona and the Tahm Kench if they would like to. Yuumi left available also, as Kiin did lock away the Azir for first pick for Ucal. Largely a denial. Kuzan has really enjoyed picking up that champion, but Ucal's also been one of our most successful Azirs in the LCK.
And Tahm Kench really making his return after many probably thought he was dead.
You can't bench Sir Thomas in LCK. You just cannot do it.
You know, he's just a ghost ship at this point. His boat, everyone thought that ship had sailed, but...
Ooh, what would be his traits in TFT?
Oh my. Well, you know he's a brawler.
He's a brawler. He's got to be a brawler. Okay.
And, you know what? I think they would probably just make a new trait. They would call it a gentleman.
And then Cho'Gath can get one as well?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gentleman. What does gentleman do?
I don't know.
Like the opposition agrees to a cup of tea or something like that, and they just immediately leave the match?
He's a
gentleman class. I guess we can talk about this draft because Kiin's picked up his Aatrox, and the Lee Sin has been picked up for Dread. This will be his 8th game on the Lee Sin. Over the other side, we did see Kuzan collect the LeBlanc, certainly something that's been picked into Azir many times, and then Peanut going a little bit more aggressively. With the Rek'Sai lock-in, Halo Blades can really ruin the day of a Lee Sin if found early, so I do like that from Peanut. We'll see whether he can actually play some proactive League of Legends with the Rek'Sai.
And so, with both of these team compositions being sculpted the way that they are right now, this is massive amounts of aggression that is actually coming out from both sides, so we might potentially have a chaotic game on our hands. Sona is the final ban by Afreeca, not wanting that to be picked up by Gen.G.
Yep, and Yuumi's still available here if Senan wants to dip into it. Gen.G not going to be picking that one up, but looks like Rule is heading straight towards we are going to survive this lane, and Peanut's not going to hang out with us at all, because this is a lot of defensiveness in the Xayah and the Tahm Kench.
Man, is it Pyke Yuumi?
Is it Pyke Yuumi? We've seen this work to pretty great effect already. Yuumi's going to be the first lock-in most likely, and then we'll see what Aiming wants to take into it. Aiming was a notable awesome dude player, so I wouldn't put it past him to be able to pilot the Pyke pretty effectively. Please excuse the alliteration.
Well, it's most likely going to be a Rakan accompanying the Xayah. But, I'm sorry, Thomas is already locked in.
Yeah,
I'm blanking
Thomas.
right now.
Yeah. We're counterpicking for
I'm
CuVee
thinking
in the
team fight
top side.
tactics.
Oh, we got the bullet hell lane! Hell yes! This was our
That's
first
very
successful
aggressive.
Yuumi.
Yeah.
And this time it's going to be the Afreeca Freecs. Okay, top lane, Tahm Kench! We're doing it. We've truly unbenched him. We've truly unbenched him.
I gave away the script, please. Just
yeah, you've done it. You've done it. We've got a Lovers duo.
You know.
Lovers duo on the bottom side, Ruler and Life with a lot more power. We can see some very confused fans in the audience here, but we have a not very confused analyst on this desk. I came prepared with LS for solo lane Tahm Kench.
So, I have a couple thousand games of Tahm. I'm aware
no one
of
is surprised, my friend.
Here's the thing, though. I'm really excited about this because I've echoed for a very long time that Tahm is bad in top lane. I know a lot of people complain about him, particularly at lower, middle MMR, and even higher MMR on certain servers. But for the most part, it really, he shouldn't be able to do that much. So unless Peanut is going to camp for him and try to get the ball rolling, yeah, he can hit a Q and he can try to do stuff with it, but Aatrox always has option select inside of the lane for how all the trades are actually going to go and when they're going to take place. So, Lucian, Yuumi, Azir, Lee Sin, Aatrox. This team comp wants to get ahead and stay ahead at all points of the game. And then they want to start blitzing and sieging down, backed with that Azir. And then on the flip side, you have Sir Thomas Kench, Rek'Sai, LeBlanc, Xayah, and right at the very end there, you got Rakan. So this team composition is equally trying to do something like that, but much, much more heavy reliance on Baron in order to close out the game.
Well, we'll see whether they can actually collect it. This, once again, is going to be some fast and loose League of Legends. Afreeca Freecs have been great at it, and Gen.G have learned how to do it. See what happens as we get on the Rift for Game 1. Gen.G fans, always extraordinarily loud. We have a look at the beautiful skybox, and already Kuzan's dashing past it. Sand Soldiers at the ready in the mid lane.
Did you see the size of that skybox, or the moon in that skybox?
It's a big old moon,
That's
man.
really big. What is the proximity?
I don't know.
Okay, so do you want to explain to me how the river is not having any waves, any tidal?
Well, it's a river.
No? Okay, well,
I mean,
that moon would influence it, okay?
No, it wouldn't. It influences the ocean. Like, very large bodies of water is how that works.
To an ocean? Have you seen Teamfight Tactics?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a waterfall.
Yeah.
That's probably taking place above Summoner's Rift.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Tell me
so
more.
It falls down to here.
Uh-huh.
There is a bottom layer to this.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably just some other random game where it'll eventually come out with. It's like the embodiment of hell. I don't know what that is.
Were you a physics lecturer before, like a Runeterra physics lecturer?
Yes.
Is that so? Coach, by the way, physics lecturer, by the way.
Runeterra is a globe.
Oh.
Yes.
I actually thought it was like Discworld.
Actually, I'm sorry, not a globe. It's flat. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
Runeterra's flat.
Whoa, are you a flat Runeterra?
Yes.
A flat Runeterra. I guess that's what it has to be.
But the moon rotates around it.
Whoa,
Yeah,
how?
I'm breaking this all down to you right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, I needed this lecture. I didn't actually, I didn't attend that class. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I was too busy in Thomas Kench's gentleman class.
Oh yeah, the gentleman
Yeah, yeah.
class. Let's establish what that does.
Okay, yeah.
It provides you.
Oh, by the way, Aiming's computer is lagging a little bit, and that's why we're talking.
It's probably trying to run both games at once.
Yeah, maybe.
Like a true
Maybe,
savant.
yeah.
You know?
Oh, maybe Savant needs to be the class. That's the class name.
For Tahm?
For Thomas? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
that would actually make a lot of sense. All right, so the gentleman class.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Well, the Savant class.
Is that it takes a really long time to build up his mana bar. Okay. But when it's full, the next opponent, he just wins the round. But no one takes damage. He just gets a free pass on the gold collection. Okay.
I thought it'd take a really long time to charge, and then he like pulls out a gauntlet and backhands them and insta-kills. And then it refreshes every auto attack.
That's like a...
And he walks really slowly.
Okay.
He like just wanders casually up to people and backhands them with a gauntlet.
with his hat.
Yeah. And
the
before that,
from his hat,
yeah, before that he's just licking like normal, and then it's fully upgraded time catch, much like how Draven works, you know.
Ooh,
like,
okay.
Charge up the spinning axes, and then he has the spinning axes from that point.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the plan's coming together.
I like that.
Hopefully, Riot August is listening.
What champion do you really want to see in next?
What do I really want to see? Udyr. Because I want to know what the heck he'd do.
How would they even control him?
I don't know.
He
I
would
want it to be
definitely
random.
Wild shapeshifter.
Yeah.
Is what he would be.
So he'd have to be like in a second
Or would he
Italy.
be wild brawler shapeshifter?
Ooh, 5 rarity.
That would be really weird.
That would be really weird, but super awesome. Whoa, do you know what would be really cool? If he changed traits based on which form he was in.
Oh, that'd be... Yeah, but how do you control that?
No, it's random.
Ooh.
So like you know how the noble buff is like random and you win or lose based on who gets it? Imperial buff, same thing.
Okay.
Just do it for Udyr. The Udyr buff is just completely random. It's like sometimes you get Phoenix stance, sometimes... And it cycles.
I like that.
That's super... Phoenix would be like Elementalist. You like switch to Elementalist. And then like... Bear stance would be like that'd be the Brawler stance.
Yeah.
Tiger stance would be... I don't know. Also Brawler
How about this? How about this for a rank 5 unit? Fiddlesticks.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Tell me more.
Demon Phantom. And then his ult is that he's silent. AoE silence.
AoE silence. And he like dashes forward, right, as well.
No, he throws his crow thing and it bounces like Brand.
Okay, so it's and
it
then
silences everyone.
And then you're gonna build Brand fiddlesticks compositions, aren't you? That's all it's going to be. You're such an you're a Brand abuser. That's what you are. You're a Brand.
You know,
abuser.
I actually do like Brand. I'm not on the A-Soul train.
Really? I'm a big fan of the old Aurelion Soul because he wins me games every time.
Okay.
You know, I'm a fan of that. Just give him that give him the long rangey cannon, and then everything's great.
All right.
The old rapid fire cannon.
Everyone listening now knows that you are.
I am a tier list abuser. I am definitely a tier list abuser. That's true. But I mean, I won 3 games in a row last night. It was pretty good.
All right.
Yeah. It's just so easy. So easy. Now I've given it away. Now everyone's just going to be playing, like,
now everyone's
wild
gonna
shapeshifter, sorcerer garbage. So
With
I'll have
Lulu.
to figure out the next one. Yeah, Lulu, now that she's being
Lulu's
fixed, is
really
so
nice
good.
now. Yeah, now that she's fixed.
Yeah, so by the way, guys, we are still in a pause here. This is a League of Legends stream. We did get a little bit sidetracked with the Teamfight Tactics.
Teamfight Tactics is just a game mode.
Hey, that is true.
Haven't you learned?
That is
We're
true.
talking about League of Legends.
Confirmed, not game 2.
Yeah.
Just a game mode for game 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Having a look at Kuzan here. He just wants to play some League of Legends, and we want to watch him do so.
Yeah, we do.
That's how that is. Does have the LeBlanc versus Azir matchup. How do you think that matchup is at the moment? Because I've heard, I've seen both sides win.
Well, if LeBlanc gets really far ahead, then Azir can't approach in a traditional way at all in terms of the laning phase. But realistically, I mean, I'm of the take that LeBlanc has actually, for the most part, lost her ability as being a true counter to a lot of the matchups, as long as the opponent has learned how to play against her, has enough proficiency. In fact, I mean, I remember being very vocal about this in regards to the LeBlanc-Zoe dynamic, where a lot of people would pick LeBlanc into Zoe, but the reality is that if the Zoe player was proficient enough, it wasn't a counter.
I don't understand. Kiin equals Iron 4 man. Kiin equals my Iron Man. My Iron Man makes a lot of sense, but he's not Iron 4. Kiin's our best top laner. What happened to the LCK?
I don't.
Oh no.
Oh god.
All
right. Well.
Thanks for the science, though, guys. We appreciate it. As we're finally back.
We are.
Bullet Hell lane on the bottom side of the map. This is going to be really great for Aiming and Senan to try and get some control in what has been a lane that Gen.G have piloted extraordinarily well so far in summer.
Well, let's get back to talking about the Sir Thomas up there in the top lane. So against the Aatrox, it looks like he's running Spellbook, which is going to be really interesting because it will mean that he does have kill potential with Peanut, especially if Peanut starts red side. He's able to path back up to top side around the time where Tahm Kench could begin to utilize the Spellbook at 6 minutes. And approach velocity and Biscuits. So Lane Kingdom type Spellbook inspiration tree taken out of CuVee.
It kind of looks like the regular support runes, to be honest. In a lot of cases, if you were to take the spellbook in the support position. But CuVee just wanting to do what CuVee does all the time, and that is weather the storm. And as Thomas Kench, you can do it in style.
He's just zoning him out of the CS right now. Kiin can't really afford to just take an auto attack this early on. And you can see that Tom's going to really struggle once Aatrox begins getting levels. Yeah, Kuzan is really messing up this trade. Ends up getting the Electrocute proc, but it comes at a really poor timing. And so now having that on cooldown is going to be really problematic for the remainder of the level 2 into 3 transition. And Aiming and Senan doing a pretty good job down here in bottom as Rek'Sai is electing to full clear, and it's being mirrored and matched by Dread. So
bit of a gentleman's agreement in the jungle, you're right.
Can you stop referring to that? We're talking about League of Legends.
All right, sorry. Not talking about our new trait. As we're prowling. That doesn't hit turret Senan, but he's now figured that one out. Has decided to go with Summon Airy this time around. Most of the time we've seen Comets. That has been what Lehen's gone to, and we defer to Lehen's when it comes to learning anything about Yuumi. He is definitely our best Yuumi player in the LCK so far, but Senan's doing his best to try and claw back in. And I like the more bop and block style of the Summoner Airy. It does give you a little bit more leeway to be both aggressive and defensive, utilizing that keystone.
And I was about to say that I really like Dread's route, and now that he's returned to the Scuttle Crab, I can actually follow through with saying that I do actually like Dread's route. So, aiming and Senan had priority down in bottom, and even though Ucal was standing mid-centric inside of the middle lane, he's able to hover right-hand side, and LeBlanc doesn't truly have priority over the Azir in this lane state, and so with the way that bottom lane was playing out, it would have been really easy for Dread to get right side Scuttle Crab, and then we see Kiin actually rotate down, get the left side Scuttle Crab, and now what ends up happening here is that Dread actually comes out ahead inside of the early game jungle pathing.
And gets to finish off on his Krugs and head back to base really cleanly. I like it as well. Just means that Peanut gets denied, and Afreeca do it without having to waste any time with their jungler. Clean stuff. Piercing Light does a heck of a lot of work there from aiming. Misses the CS with that one, but he's 10 in the lead, ahead of Ruler and Life, who, you know, you can understand why they'd be behind in this lane because Lucian and Yuumi are so incredibly oppressive. Peanut is moving his way down towards the bottom side, waiting for his bottom side camps to rubber band, but haven't just yet, so has some time to possibly go for a lane gank, but Afreeca Freecs, they've scouted it.
Dread is going to potentially look for a gank here against the Tahm Kench. Tahm's getting really low on mana, even though he has the Biscuit and he has all the Corrupting Potions remaining. But one of the problems that he's having is you can see that he doesn't actually get to trade with Kiin, as hard as he might try to. And in doing this, Kiin is having a really large CS advantage, and also don't forget that he has the Scuttle Crab experience and the gold inside of him.
Yeah. Well, now, Ucal looking for it, doesn't have level 6 available just yet. Emperor's Divide not going to be there. And we're not going to find the Q on Kuzan either, so he holds on to his flash. But it's just CS leads across the board for the Afreeca Freecs. They're just laning this one much better than Gen.G, and I don't think anyone that's been watching the LCK so far in 2019 would be surprised with this outcome. We're not going to actually see the edge of the Infernal Chains right there, as CuVee's going to eat some free health.
Those are the trades that Tahm doesn't get to be a part of. So
yeah, the bad news
when you're
trades.
spacing and zoning against him correctly, he can't actually do anything inside of the laning phase against a lot of the meta top laners, and this is why I'm really surprised to see this come out in the LCK and also against Kiin. So as long as Kiin doesn't die to this gank, this is the one timing Peanut and CuVee actually have to kill him, which is where he's going to have a little bit of difficulty crashing this final wave. You can see he's actually being really cautious. He places the ward down. Peanut and CuVee need to kill him right here, or top lane phase is over.
Well, right now, Peanut's going to go for the Rift Scuttler first. We'll knock that one up and take it down. Dread, I believe, was hoping that it spawned on the bottom side. Didn't happen. As we're checking out, see whether Peanut's going to come top. He's just not right now.
They got a little bit more time granted to them because you can see here that Kiin is still struggling to crash this final wave. And he's actually doing so in a pretty poor manner because he's so cautious because they didn't know about Rek'Sai. Now they have confirmation about where Rek'Sai is, so he can be a lot more liberal with the usage of his abilities and get the crash in on this Tahm.
Grand entrance, just for disengage there on the side of Life. Battle dances his way back out again, but you can see Afreeca Freecs so happy with how this is going bottom side. Zoomies to get the health back, and Senan can pop in and out to see whether he can deny aggro, things like that. It's exactly how we saw Lehens play so extraordinarily well with the Yuumi. It's being able to get in and out in an effective fashion.
Right. Clown Dragon is the first one of the game. And so we'll see if Dread ever wants to just attempt to solo it after he completes his jungle item, as currently aiming and sending it. They're going to get the turret play down in bottom, and so remember, Afreeca's team composition, they want to be aggressive, they want to get advantages, but they're not the one that the onus is on in order to do so. A lot of the champions on the side of Gen.G fall off the later that the game ends up going, most notably the Tahm Kench, the Rek'Sai, and the LeBlanc, all things considered, relative to the team comp. So the one saving grace will be the Xayah in the later stages, but so far everything is going fantastic right now for Afreeca.
Yeah, Kiin goes back, gets himself some swiftness boots. He's not going to be tongue lashed to death by CuVee this time, is what he's saying. Very close to picking up a Blade of the Ruined King here for aiming as item number 1. We'll see where he goes as far as the build is concerned. Most likely will be Essence Reaver, just to keep up with some of the scaling that Ruler will have. I actually really like it. As our final chapter comes down towards the bottom side, there's Life, grand entrance once
really
again.
Nice movement.
Yeah, that was really cute, but Life's going down very low. Kuzan in the mid lane, has to flash in order to get himself out. Deceive is going to at least put his clone in the way of Dread so that the Q can't land, but bottom side, some really weird interactions there. Heal goes down from Ruler, but he does hold on to his flash.
Now Dread and Ucal looking to convert the temporary advantage in mid priority over as a blue buff.
Yep, there's Ucal that's able to grab that one as well. Peanut stole away theirs, but he took it himself, so Kuzan is the one that misses out.
Second turret plate.
Yeah, this lead is just gigantic on the bottom side of the map. Close to 20 CS, and I don't think we've seen Ruler at this kind of deficit for a really long time. He has been so incredibly consistent. Peanut understands that. He's
they gotta be careful.
Yeah, looking for the way in, gets the knock up. The Yuumi's in there, but look at that. The quickness, so good at locking them down. Senan is going to be a free kill. That is one going over to Peanut and one for Ruler, as Ucal can't cancel his teleport, but can at least get away.
And Dread having to now stop the dragon. That was so uncharacteristic out of Afreeca. Rek'Sai was visible for, I would say, at least 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was a long time.
It was quite a long time, and aiming has flash available, so there was no reason to get knocked up that way. Now Gen.G, they're going to be able to convert this into a Cloud Dragon capture. Infernal will come up next, but even though they get some pressure relief, take a look at this. Watch how long Rek'Sai's on the screen. You can see him.
Yeah.
And they don't even flash, so I'm not sure what aiming and Senan were maybe thinking right there, but Gen.G get a really much-needed breakdown in bottom lane, but they're still behind down there, as weird as that is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about what the interaction would have been had aiming flashed a little bit earlier, because he does have Relentless Pursuit as well, but might have just been dead anyway with the fact that Battle Dance plus Grand Entrance can close a lot of distance, and then as soon as Peanut catches up, then it's going to be a bad time, but that's very glass half full. I think that a flash probably would have at least got them a little bit further, because Zoomies giving you the extra movement speed is certainly going to be useful.
And now Afreeca, they want to get this Rift Herald. They've given up on...
Yeah, Kuzan dives in. The Yuumi does attach to Dread, keeps him alive for the moment, but that will mean that Shelly is going to go down. Dread trying to get out, but does have an extra shield. Summoner Airy comes back up again. Dread's trying to get his health back. As you can see, Zoomies are in there. Life is going to spot aiming. Good Relentless Pursuit to get himself over the wall.
They really want the
Freecs,
patience
they're trying to either get the reset or get the steal. Final chapter coming out here as CuVee goes down very low. Has the stopwatch, but will be out of this fight. The culling barely does anything as the quickness locks up for Life. Gets the triple knock up as well. Emperor's Divide is tried to use defensively, but now Kuzan lands the chains. Ruler gets another kill, and Gen.G are on the board in a huge way after a difficult early game.
That was a really, really clutch ultimate out of Life right there to lock up Kiin and prevent that from going absolutely horribly for them. They're going to get themselves the Rift Herald. There's still 2 minutes remaining on turret plate, so they could just run up to mid lane and just plant it down right away, put all the gold into Ruler.
Yep, that's what they want to do. They might be able to get some more bottom side as well, because there are 5 stacks down here. Shelly pops over the wall, and that is going to be a hell of a lot of money here for Ruler. That's the first 160. Kickback, but
still gets the
that ain't going to do it. The auto attack was recent enough.
Oh.
We patched that one, as another plate does go down, and that one, I believe, doesn't go to Ruler.
Yeah. And so now aiming and Senan, they're down here in the bottom lane. They really want to continue to get some plates, as there is going to be temporary relief, as Xayah has yet to return to the laning phase. So Kuzan still locked up down here. He does have Life with him, which does have flash available, but Infernal Dragon coming up in 2 minutes.
Yeah, and that's what Afreeca are definitely going to have to contest for that one. 3,000 gold behind now, but Gen.G with Ruler this fed, they've sort of transformed what their composition is capable of, based on the fact that Ruler is just so huge. We're going to have a look at this fight one more time. Just watch life. The 3-man knock-up as well as the quickness onto 4 was just so clutch.
Yeah, the patience almost ends up resetting. Right here, it looked like they were just going to be able to kill CuVee, but he's able to utilize his stopwatch. And then right here, Kiin goes for a flash. He gets locked up. He had Senan available. If he gets the kill on CuVee, everyone on Gen.G will just melt.
Yeah.
Because the World Ender passive will end up resetting. That's going to be the go button for the rest of the Afreeca members. And so, extremely important that they were able to lock him up.
Gen.G fans, incredibly passionate. Understandable. As aiming was in potentially a little bit of trouble, but he had Senan there, just hanging out. The cat book. But the bullet hell just straight up didn't work because CuVee went into stopwatch. Ruler tanked a fair bit of the culling, but we didn't get any roots really apart from CuVee. But like we said, stopwatch that one. Absorbed a lot of that pressure. That is still, despite where Tahm Kench is coming from, he's still just going to be that meat shield that's going to try and distract you from shooting the priority targets.
Well, this is ultimately what CuVee is going to transition into, is basically being a second support. He's going to be a Tahm Kench that's a little bit tankier and able to do a little bit more damage than a traditional Tahm Kench support. But he will fall off later in the game, so Ruler, though, with the massive advantage that he currently has right now, is going to need to put the rest of Gen.G on his shoulders as he can carry them through to victory. Infernal Dragon coming up in 10 seconds. They definitely want to get that. I'm not sure if Kiin's rotating down for it, or if they're just going to give it up.
Yeah, maybe they just don't feel strong enough. I have a feeling if they do give it up, though, it will be largely the first of many nails in this coffin. Peanut's just going to go over, and it looks like Afreeca Freecs just won't have a way in.
I really hope that we get... Okay, Rek'Sai, 158. Here we go. Let's take a look. No, not Tahm. All right, Xayah, 158. Okay, 158 on both. Rek'Sai and Xayah.
Interesting.
All right, 16 AD.
16 AD, not too bad.
Not too bad, so a long sword and a half.
Yep. And what is that, like a medium-sized sword?
What? Maybe that's like...
I feel like the scale is really Starbucks, though, with the swords, because you got BF sword, which is really big, and then long sword, which is already big. Where's small sword? You know, we don't have small sword, so it needs to be like large sword or something is like halfway.
There's a lot of things that don't make sense in teamfight tactics items.
I mean, it is. I mean, apparently Runeterra's flat, so we've gone wrong right from the beginning.
I'm gonna need you to apologize.
I think I'm going to need to attend that physics lecture again. I obviously didn't get a pass in that particular grade. Sorry, guys, if you've just joined us. That was from a previous conversation during the initial pause for this series. Currently, as we bring the attention back to the game, it is about 4,000 gold the lead for Gen.G, and they are one turret away from perfect game pace. Which is just insane. Once upon a time, Afreeca Freecs were the team that often perfect gamed people in Game 1. And now, it's an Afreeca team that's getting perfect game in a Game 1. But not over just yet, and Ucal can certainly turn things with this Azir. And if the Aatrox can actually get work done, then Kiin can be a very dominating force as well. So this composition from Gen.G is very strong. Now has the Infernal Drake, and that is fantastic for them, but there is hope for the Afreeca squad, and Gen.G cannot rest on their laurels just yet. Conquering Sands from Ucal, and is going to be able to keep that mid lane outer turret alive, despite Shelly having her way with it earlier on.
The really problematic thing, aside from the 4,000 gold differential between the two teams right now in the Infernal Dragon and the Clown Dragon, is look at the level disparity between some of the champions right now. You have a 1-level lead inside of the mid lane, a 3-level lead.
That is so
inside of the AD carry. So, I mean, it's a little bit.
Would you say you're impressed?
I'm a little impressed. This is like when...
Ruler took one of his worst laning phases and turned it into probably one of his most impressive mid-games. It's just really crazy.
He rolled really well.
He did.
That's very talented.
Yeah. In
order to do that. Don't you love when you go up against a rank 3?
Yeah.
At like level 4?
Yeah.
That's really fun.
Yeah,
that's what Afreeca's doing right now.
My favorite is when it's actually just a really terrible rank 3, and then you beat them in like,
like
3
Rek'Sai.
rounds later. Yeah, like they get a rank 3 Rek'Sai. That's a feels bad, man.
Yeah.
But even like rank 3 Tristana feels pretty awful.
Oh, that is terrible.
Yeah,
that's
it's
really
so
gross.
bad.
Yeah.
But you see people with it all the time because Trist is like such a common drop, right? And so like it happens in like round 3 and you're like, yeah, okay, you might have a rank 3 Tristana now, but that's going to be some gold later in the game.
You know what is a really rare rank 3 that I haven't gotten to see all that much?
What's that?
It's
Aatrox?
No, it's actually Vigar.
Oh,
Don't get to see him that much. People just seem to give up on him because of his passive requires him to have ranks over the opponents. So it's really rare to see him at rank 3, but when he is there,
it is real scary.
Yeah, sometimes it's exciting. It's a little mini Thanos.
Might have to make that comp work. Also works really well in a Yordle composition. Have yourself a Nara and a Lulu as well. Lulu pretty busted, but let's go back to the League of Legends. There's some Raptor camps. Were contested, but this is the lull state, as you so effectively coined, LS. Not a whole lot of action, as the Baron's going to be spawning in 40 seconds time. Cloud Drake going to be the next one, and that's going to be up in a minute. A lot of running fast for Gen.G is going to be a great news story for them, to be perfectly honest. They want to be getting around this map as swiftly as possible. CuVee doesn't really want to spend time in this lane anymore because Kiin has a lot of the items that he wants, and CuVee's weird fire cape is not really going to help him all that much.
Aatrox dominates this matchup right now, although...
In goes Ucal, looking for the delivery, does get himself a flash.
It's like they're playing on 60 FPS or something. Everything is so slow. The Lucian flash in bottom lane against Peanut.
Yeah.
That almost looked like the same kind of delay.
Well, I think that it was sort of like the mind games, though, you know, because he could have shifting sensed his way in, and then you could have just got a flash without having to use your ultimate. Like, those sort of mind games are coming in. It's like, are you going to do it? Am I going to do it? It was good for CuVee to wait for the start of the animation and flash himself out of the way.
Clown Dragon will go over on the side of Gen.G. That'll be the second one, so that's actually Cloud Drake.
Yeah, that's a real
dragon.
We're moving pretty quick. I want to see a third one. Three Cloud Drakes is my favorite. Triple threat Drakes. 3 Infernals is just too easy.
They put it up there before it was eaten.
Wow.
They're leaking the script.
Yeah?
That's my job.
Oh, I was going to say, like, I feel like this is just jealousy right now.
I'm just getting bitter up here. I don't know.
Well, as this game has slowed down so much, who is that benefiting? I'm feeling like Afreeca are going to be pretty comfortable with this game not really going anywhere right now.
They benefit much more because of the Aatrox and the Azir, whereas on the flip side, all that you really have is the Xayah. Yes, the LeBlanc can get scary, and yes, you can delete anyone at any given point, but the Yuumi actually scales really, really, really well against this Gen.G team composition, and so it's a battle of about 3 champions versus 2, but more like 1.5 on the side of Gen.G because Tahm Kench falls off really hard. Rek'Sai begins plummeting after her first 2 core items, and so yeah, they have the Infernal Dragon and they have a massive gold advantage, but the fact that they're not doing anything with it is really problematic. These are actually, interestingly enough, the game states where I heavily advocate freezing side lanes to create neutral objectives in a way. You create an objective for the opponent that they're forced to break or fall down in XP, gold inside of that lane, and you do that when there's no neutral objectives on the map and it's realistically unfathomable that you can eat Baron.
Well, I'm pretty scared for the moment when Afreeca Freecs get the Ardent Sensor on the Yuumi. Because Ardent Sensor on the Lucian is going to be a no-brainer, but Ardent Sensor Azir is disgusting. That is so much damage potential out of Ucal in these teamfights. So Gen.G will need to start picking up the pace. Slowly but surely they are extending this lead. It was 4,000 a few minutes ago, now it's 6. But they need to start getting notable objectives, start pushing things forward, because Kiin was freely able to take that outer turret on the bottom side of the map. Yes, outer in the mid lane did fall, but breaking this inner ring of turrets is seeming very difficult for Gen.G, despite it being very dark around the Baron.
It's really dark
minutes into the game can be a dangerous attempt.
The Baron, but the thing is that Gen.G's ability to just do it is not instantaneous. So without any Mountain Drakes on their side, it's not like they shred it in 10 seconds or something of that nature. So the second that Gen.G disappears from the map, you can see that they have 2 blue trinkets on the side of Afreeca. They're able to just utilize them to check it out every 15 seconds or so, or 10 seconds once they disappeared, whatnot. And check, okay, are you on it or are you not on it? And then the blue trinket dissipates, and then you wait and see if they actually come out of the fog, or where they don't, you move in. There's a lot of ways of checking it.
Kiin taking a lot of damage there from Kiin. Not exactly the best face checks that you can make. Straight into that Aatrox. CuVee having some time here on his own bottom side of the map. His Warmogs is now completed, so he's very, very tanky. Prowling Projectile finds life, but doesn't find a lot of damage. And Ruler has almost found his Infinity Edge, so that might be the go button for Gen.G. That'll be an extra full item available for the Xayah. Aiming about to finish his booties, but otherwise not too much more. Then the first 2 items that he managed to get. Sonic Wave doesn't find the mark there as Dread tries to chuck down some wards, but Gen.G have been very diligent in getting as much vision as possible. And as soon as Afreeca puts down a control ward, immediately it is taken away.
Infernal Dragon coming up in a minute and 20 seconds, so Ruler has to be careful.
We're looking for the bullet hell combo. Aiming actually holds onto the culling that entire time. It was just the final chapter used from Senan.
So now Ruler.
Oh, we've got the double flank coming in though. CuVee finds the backline. Kuzan's going to walk over a ward. Ucal sets up the Sun Turret, but Aiming's trying to get in there. He held on to the culling just for this, but it doesn't actually find too many members of Gen.G. Kiin still looking for the fight. Kuzan diving on forward, just wants to get the deletion onto Dread. Doesn't find it there. Life still looking for more, doesn't have the quickness. No Feather Storm available. Afreeca still with a lot of buttons of their own. The Zoomies come in to keep Ucal alive. This is the combo that can be very scary, but maybe not at this point. Is that Sun Turret's range? Don't worry, guys. It's not that far.
Well, James Bond is on the side of Afreeca right now. That's what's
that laser sight.
Yeah.
Real scary stuff. Battle Dance is pretty good at breaking Infernal Chains. CuVee wanting to stop some backs here, but isn't able to.
Should still mean that the Infernal comfortably goes over to Gen.G, assuming that Dread is not some sort of a hero. And it doesn't even look like he actually wants to go for it. If he would go for it, fail, die, they would be able to convert immediately into Baron anyway. Yeah, so this is really, really unfortunate. Now, the one little upside, or, well, if you're an Afreeca fan, the one way that you can look at this, though, is that they have some champions that don't really utilize the Infernal that well. Mostly the Tahm Kench is only building HP, the Rakan doesn't have any AP ratios coming in right now, so it is still extremely scary on the LeBlanc and the Xayah, who has now just completed her 3rd item.
Even the Rek'Sai, to a certain extent, with the Halo Blades. Having the extra AD can certainly help you out. And Black Cleaver is completed here for Peanut also. Dread's going to get spotted and licked by CuVee. Nothing going to come from that one though. Still, 6,000 is going to be the lead. Double Cloud, double Infernal, and we've got our 3rd Cloud Drake on the board. Perfect alternating dragons here today so far. Yeah. Liking it a lot.
It was very windy and then very hot.
It was.
And then very windy.
I call this combo the bushfire.
You like that?
Yeah. Because often it's on fire and it's windy. That's my reasoning.
Okay. Alright, I can get behind that.
Thanks. Actually, being behind a bushfire is a good idea. Don't be in front of it. That's bad news. Senan gonna prowl. Prowling projectile can be pretty useful in this certain circumstance because you want to be checking some brushes as Afreeca Freecs going for it. The solo lane's out in force once again, looking for catfish for dinner. Kuzan's coming down towards the bottom side as Gen.G are positioned around this Baron. CuVee not going to get Infernal chained, but that Grey health is going to have to be utilized. He's got such a huge effective health pool as Kuzan wants to get in. CuVee is most definitely dead as the auto attacks from Ucal are terrifyingly fast. And Kuzan just couldn't pick a target to kill.
Yeah, and Kuzan wasn't able to get in there. They called him to teleport from aiming just to guarantee that Kuzan wouldn't be able to interfere. Felt like we were just watching one of those like awful videos that sometimes get posted. It's like a 2-on-1 or something. Someone tries to intervene and then someone prevents the person from intervening. That's tragic.
Yeah, he was like, "No, I've got this 1v1, bro." No, that wasn't the case, CuVee, unfortunately.
Well, 6,500 gold is the advantage. I actually think
Afreeca probably lost out on that in terms of tempo control everywhere else.
Yep.
And so only having to expend one person's life, definitely not the end of the world. You also get the teleport out of aiming, although it doesn't really do that much at 28.5 minutes.
Well, that's actually 2 teleports in one. Likely Senan will be with aiming, so
yeah.
I guess you don't get both Yuumi and Lucian heading in, but she can jump onto Ucal if the Yuumi wants to get around. There's Kiin. Very fast members of Gen.G here. The boots of mobility for life means that he's booking it around Summoner's Rift.
And
okay, we've got the start of the fight as aiming dives on out. Kiin immediately going to stopwatch, but I have a feeling that is the beginning of the end. That is the first pick off for Gen.G, and this might be a great moment for them. Moving now towards the Baron. What can Afreeca actually do to stop it is the question.
well, Azir is going to have to be a hero, but you can see that Kuzan is already in position, waiting on the right-hand side for whoever will try to approach. He has to be, everyone has to be so careful.
Yeah, Kuzan just wants to
aiming.
delete one target. He might be able to. Chains don't land, but still a heck of a lot of damage. Ucal completely whiffed the ultimate because he was so terrified, and the Shifting Sands gets them out, and now Gen.G moves straight back to Baron. This should be, finally, the big purple worm taken down for Gen.G in their first real advantage and inroad in this game.
Teleport coming in from Kiin, but oh, actually.
Yeah, Ucal going to turn up. 2 seconds on Kiin, exactly right. But Ucal has to flash. He doesn't have ult, remember, so he's just in there to die. Unfortunate decision-making there from Ucal, thinking that Senan might have been a little bit more useful than he was, but in the end, he's just a free kill for Gen.G. In fact, Void Rush used from Peanut just to try and get some star points.
And that should probably be the end of the game. There's 33 seconds on the Azir. They might be really careful and try to recall, but with 2 massive Baron waves and so many Summoner spells still remaining on the side of Gen.G.
This is at least 2 inhibitors, maybe more. Let's see what Gen.G are actually going to be capable of. CuVee flicking the top turret to death as Kuzan's going to land more chains in this mid lane. Now, can they push these minion waves ever forward? Siege minions, we've got quite a few of them hanging around the area, but Gen.G don't want to bite off more than they can chew. They're feeling like 2 inhibs on their first push is pretty good. And Ruler just wants to take this rep up and be on his way. Okay, teleport to come in here as Dread gets the kick flash. We're looking for the final chapter, but Ruler in good positioning right now. Throws out the Feather Storm. That's a decent route onto Kiin, who flashes. Ruler's going to flash at the right time. Can he actually get these autos? The Abyssal Voyage, and Ruler survives. The last 20 minutes of this game have been amazing from this guy.
Yeah, well, at this point, Afreeca's probably tilted now going into game number 2 after that. Well, I mean, that was a team effort and a team failure.
To go from a 20 CS lead over this guy on the bottom side of the map to getting this obliterated by this one dude, yeah, that's a tilt up. That is definitely a tilt up.
You have to wonder why Afreeca is this far up, farming a wave that was coming into their tier 2 turret anyway. This is actually a really, really common mistake. I remember another instance of this that sticks out in my mind was Prey. Solo throwing a game for KT by farming a wave really far up, even though the wave is coming in. It's a pretty common mistake in pro play.
Ow. That's boom goes the dynamite right there. That is a Runon's Hurricane picked up as well as a BF sword for Ruler. That's why he managed to one-shot Ucal right there, and this game is most definitely over. The last inhibitor turret will be taken down. Gen.G are playing this one by the numbers. They've lost 2 turrets and 1 kill, and they've taken everything else on this map. Afreeca Freecs just have to watch on as Gen.G close in and take down game number 1. CuVee's so huge in the front line. Kuzan's going to pop the Aatrox, make him look like a support with that health bar just evaporating, and Ruler, anything he touches will just melt. Nexus turret number 2. The Nexus will be the next one as Dread's just dancing around this fight. Both of the turrets taken by the Xayah, and then the extra kill comes in. Beautiful, beautiful play from Gen.G. Slow start, but they just closed it out in the end.
Yeah, it was a really slow start all around where every lane was actually losing, including the jungle, but then there was the one gank with Peanut where they end up relieving all of the pressure. Then there was the Herald fight where Life turned everything around, and then from that point on, there was just no salvaging anything, it seemed, for Afreeca, and they just completely lost control.
Yeah, I don't know how or why I was doubting Ruler At the beginning of the game, it was one of the first times we've seen him in a CS deficit, yes, but he's against a Yuumi Lucian, so I guess you should assume that things may not go exactly perfectly, but that mid-game. Some of the best Xayah Rakan that we've seen, and we knew that Life was fantastic. One of his MVPs was actually for his Rakan play, but Ruler is just, like, talking about these bottom lanes is really difficult, right? Because you're about as good or as bad as your support in a lot of cases, except for maybe Teddy, who just by himself was an absolute god, sort of didn't matter which support he had. But Ruler and Life, like, it just feels like both of them are right at the top of their craft right now.
Right. And, well, the Dragons are quite well. So next game, we're going to actually start with an Infernal Drake.
Tahm Kench did more damage than Aatrox.
He did. Although, top lane didn't really do anything this game, really.
Yeah, it was an odd situation.
Yeah.
It was like the Tahm Kench was there to
It was a
stop
gentleman's
Aatrox
agreement.
from
We talked
playing
about
the game.
this.
Oh, yeah.
We were getting a
They
preview.
shook hands and left the game. That's
See?
what happened. We
We're
charged
getting an
the
early
mana
preview.
bar. Oh,
I wasn't supposed to leak this.
make
but
it happen, Riot. Make it happen, guys. We need Thomas Kench in our Teamfight Tactics. That will make it LS's favorite game of all time. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
It's already my favorite. Let's be honest.
By the way, do you think that Varus is actually good?
Yes.
Okay, good. I thought Varus tier was just a tier on its own, and I didn't know what that actually meant. Guys, we are going to go to Game 2 very, very quickly, but there will be a short break. So make sure you stick around, see whether Gen.G can get that 2-0, or whether the Afreeca Freecs can find their way back in this series. And we'll try not to talk about too much teamfight tactics during the next one.
Joke.
It's just so hard because, you know, we've been playing the game way
Not
too much. It's too exciting. It's too good. But we're going to go to a break. We'll see you after.
해봐줄게 이거.
미드 웨이브도 온다.
야 바텀 웨이브로 쓰자.
바텀 웨이브로 끝낼
그걸
생각하면
끝내도 돼.
4대1.
캔치 탱해줘야 돼. 그냥 타워.
그냥 다이브 쳐도 된다 이거.
앞으로.
에이트로스
앞으로 잡았고.
조미에 매우 깼고. 나 빠질게.
그러니까 타워 하자. 타워.
2초. 루시안 컷.
나이스야가.
끝내자.
이거 살려줘.
아니야. 살려줘.
먹고 살았다.
잡아.
나이스.
일로 와. 나이스다. 아비.
잘했다 얘들아. 박찬스.
잘 잡았어.
나 이겼다.
야, 끝났다.
끝났어. 아직 안 끝났어.
아니야, 오케이.
아, 나 이거 죽을 것 같아.
야, 니들게.
야, 같이 다녀.
터져 직결할 생각. 형, 아트는 집 갔어요. 빼야 될 듯.
야, 뭐해? 정신 차려.
정신 차리고 끝내자.
아니야, 우리 얘들아. 가자. 가야 된다.
장로 가야 돼. 이거 장로 먹히면 안 된다.
물러설 데 없다 얘들아. 집중하고. 와도 없는데. 어때? 야, 싸나대 지금 싸나 어때? 야, 빠져. 없어.
야, 빠져. 먹고 빠져.
버텨.
맞다. 나이스. 천천히.
와도 없어. 와도 하나 해봐. 와도 있어. 끝냈지. 나
끝났어. 끝났다. 아, 나이스.
아, 얘들아 집중하랬지.
안돼. 좀 싸움 보여줬으면 좋긴 했는데.
너무 다른 쪽에 낚시 안 되는데.
지는 줄 알았네. 물들 게임.
나는 이기고 싶다. 듣고 있나?
이기고 싶은 사람.
손 드세요.
아무것도 못하고
오늘
넌 내게 빠져. 넌 내게 미쳐. 헤어날 수 없다. 피카츄. 피카츄 원해.
너 진짜 크게 노래 부른다. 너 진짜 크게 노래 부른다.
들려요?
진짜 내 오해는 녹음 바르각이야.
게임을 시작할 때마다 이거 마우스 커서 속도가 초기화가 되는 것 같아.
내가 있는 미래에
아, 좀 조용히 해라. 그래. 너도 들어. 안 들려.
아니 한 명 우승하는 기능 만들어야 될 것 같은데.
차단해야 돼, 진짜로.
인형
이렇게 좋은 날.
죽는다. 아 나이스.
와우.
야, 천천히 해야 니코 뒤에였다. 모르가나 나왔어 지금.
나왔어.
모르가 나왔어.
야, 탑 깎게. 타봐.
야 얘들아 하니까 재밌네.
야, 먼저 죽는 거 조심해. 야, 우르고 잡은 거 같아.
모르 잡았어.
야, 피어.
일로 와.
알파카.
안녕히 가세요. 컴온.
오, 베이비.
이거 유미도 있다. 유미.
야, 유미.
야,
사일러스.
야 이제 봐봐.
끝내자. 나이스. 아이고, 우리 1등이야. 아, 1등 아니야. 2등이야. 아, 나이스.
잘해요.
잘한다.
아프리카는 어떻게 강팀이 되었는가?